All right, guys, we're going to talk about estimating products today. Estimating means to round, okay? I put our poster up here to remind us what our rounding words are and to remind us how to round, okay? And then products obviously is the answer to a multiplication problem. It's the total. When you multiply two numbers together, it is the total that you get. Okay, this is very similar to when we estimated sums and differences. The first thing you're going to do, your first step, is you're going to round the greater factor to the front place value, okay? So if your number is in the hundreds, you're going to round it to the hundreds. If your number is in the thousands, you're going to round it to the thousands place. You're going to round it to the biggest place. Then you multiply your basic facts. And then once you have that done, you add any zeros you need to add. So let's look at this example right here. I have 6 times 43. I'm going to take 43 and I'm going to round it to the tens place because that is the biggest place. 43 rounds down to 40, right? Remember, we look at the digit to the right. The 3 is 4 or less. So that makes the 4 stay the same, right? We don't add anything to it. Take that, changes to 40, it rounds to 40. We multiply it by 6. You take your basic fact, 6 times 4 is 24, and then you add 1 0. Let's go over here and look at this one. 9 times 269. We take 269, and this one we round up to 300. The 6 makes the 2 become a 3. Everything after that becomes zeros. So then we do 9 times 300. Take your basic fact. 9 times 3 is 27. Add 2 zeros. All right, so let's go do some of our own. Let's go look at number 1. We're going to do 5 times 56. What would we round 56 to? De'Eric? 60. And we're going to multiply that by 5. Let's take our basic fact. What is 5 times 6? What is 5 times 6? Elisa? 30. And then how many zeros do I add, Talia? 1. So 5 times 56 is about 300. All right, let's go look at number 2. 4 times 234. What would I round 234 to? Jackson? I'm sorry. 200, good. Times 4. Take your basic fact. 4 times 2 is, what is 4 times 2, Blaze? 8. And then how many zeros? 2 zeros. So 4 times 234 is about 800. All right, let's look at 7 times 89. What would I round 89 to? What would I round 89 to, Elisa? Okay, and what does it round to? 90 times 7. Take your basic fact. 9 times 7 is what, Talon?
That is 64.
Close. Ellie? 63, and then I'm going to add a 0. So 7 times 90 is 630. All right, let's go do 4, 5, and 6. 3 times 657. What would I round 657 to, Riley?
800?
The 6. Does it stay the same, stay a 6, or does it become a 7?
It becomes 7.
So it's 700 times 3. Do your basic fact. What is 3 times 7? What is 3 times 7, Blaze?
21.
And then how many zeros? 2. 2,100.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. 4,569 times 2. What would I round 4,569 to? Now remember, we round to the biggest place. So for this one, we're going to round to the thousands place. Michael, what would it be? 5,000. So 2 times 5,000. Do your basic fact. 2 times 5 is 10. Add the 3 zeros. 10,000. All right, 9 times 34. What do we round 34 to, Brindley? 30 times 9. Take your basic fact. 9 times 3 is what, De'Eric? 27. Add a 0. And that's it.
2,000. Wait, hold on.
Okay, let's go look at the word problems. All right, I'm going to talk you through word problems. These are things, Talon, that you need to be saying to yourself when you're reading word problems. On Friday, 456 people went to see a movie. If each movie ticket cost $8, about how much money was spent altogether to see this movie? About how much altogether? Okay. The first question you need to ask yourself is, do we know a total or are we looking for a total? Abby, we are looking for a total. Okay, if we do not know the total, if we're looking for a total, we're going to add or multiply. So the next thing we need to ask ourselves, do I have equal groups or unequal groups? Equal groups or unequal groups? What do you think? Blaze, what do you think? Equal. How do we know they're equal groups? How do we know they're equal groups?
Because there's 456 in 8 groups.
Each ticket cost $8. So 456 people and each person spent $8 on a ticket. So that word each tells us that it's equal groups. There's one more thing. Do I just go ahead and multiply?
No.
No. Why?
Because you need to round.
Because I need to what?
Round.
What tells me I need to round?
About.
About how much? About, if you look right here, down here at the bottom, if you can see it, about is a rounding word. Okay, so we've got 456. What are we going to round 456 to? What are we going to round 456 to? Talia?
500.
500. Now I'm going to take 500. Multiply that by 8. Take your basic fact. What is 5 times 8? 5 times 8. Avery?
40, and then you add the 2 zeros.
40, and then I add 2 more zeros. So it cost about $4,000 to see this movie. Cost about $4,000 to see this movie. Okay, let's go look at number 8. Mrs. Smith has 26 students. If each student took 7 tests this week, Miss Smith says she will have to grade about 210 tests. Is this a reasonable estimate? Is this a reasonable estimate? Well, let's find out. First of all, am I looking for, do I know the total or no, I don't know the total? Am I looking for the total, Hayden? I'm looking for the total. So we're going to add or multiply. Do I have equal or unequal groups? Blaze? Equal groups, because I see the word each. Each student took 7 tests. Okay? So you imagine each person in here taking 7 tests. So we're going to multiply. Before I multiply, I have to do what? Elisa? Why do I have to round? It says about, and then there's 2 other words, another little phrase that I boxed that I need to add to our poster. What do you see, Jackson? Reasonable estimate. You're going to see those two words a lot. A reasonable estimate. Okay, so I've got 26 times 7. Okay. First thing I have to do is round 26. What do I round 26 to? What are we going to round it to, Riley?
30.
30. Now I can multiply by 7. Take your basic fact. 3 times 7 is what, Brighton?
21.
21, and add a 0. So was Miss Smith correct? Did she make a good, reasonable estimate about how many papers she was going to have to grade?
Yes.
Abby? Yes.
That's a lot.
Yes, she was. Now, let me ask you a question about Miss Smith right here. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. The actual answer. So if I took 26 and times it by 7, that would give me the actual amount of paper she had to grade, right? Okay. Is the estimate more than the number of papers she has to grade? Or is the estimate less than the number of papers that she has to grade? What do you think, Abby?
I think it's probably more.
Why do you think it's more?
Because 26 is less than 30.
We rounded up, right? We rounded up, not down. So the estimate, 30, is more than 26, right? So because we rounded up, the estimate is more than the actual answer, right? Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next available page and let's look at some two-digit numbers, okay? The first number we're going to look at is 24 times 28. Let's look at 24 times 28. Now, if we are rounding, if we are estimating, if you know that you are estimating the product, then what you're going to do is you're going to round both numbers. So you round first, then you multiply. What would we round 24 to? What would you round 24 to, Blaze?
20.
20. And then what would I round 28 to, Abby?
30.
30. Take your basic fact. 2 times 3 is 6. How many zeros do I add? 2. So 24 times 28 is about 600. Okay? All right, let's look at another one. What if I did 47 times 39? 47 times 39. What would I round 40 to? I'm sorry, what would I round 47 to, Michael? 50. And what would I round 39 to, Abby? What? I'm sorry? 40. Okay, we're going to take our basic fact. 5 times 4. What is 5 times 4, Riley? I'm sorry? 20. And then I'm going to add 2 zeros. So 47 times 39 is about 2,000. All right, let's do 82 times 23. What would I round 82 to, Jason? 80 times 23. What would I round 23 to, Talia?
20.
20. Do your basic fact. 8 times 2 is 16. And then I add 2 zeros. 82 times 23 is about 1,600. The last one we're going to look at is 16 times 75. All right. What would I round 16 to? Elisa? 20 times. What would I round 75 to, Jack?
80.
80 Take your basic fact. 2 times 8 is 16. Add 2 zeros. 16 times 75 is about 1,600. All right, good job, guys.